Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Mindful Podcast. I'm your host, Kaylee Elliott, and I am so excited for today's episode. But it's gonna be some deep topics. Okay, we're gonna be talking about, if you're in a rough patch of your life, if you're in a rough season, it does get better, and there's just some mindset shifts that have to happen. There's some things that you have to allow to happen into your life. There's some just habits in general that you have to switch and so we're just going to get into this, but I think the biggest thing is, and what I want to just tell you, is if you are going through something that is just hard and you never expected to go through it, it's a really rough season of your life, and you're just constantly asking, when is it going to be over? You're tired, you're drained, your emotions are through the roof, and you just feel like you cannot get anything under control. I am here to tell you that it does get better. For a year, probably over a year, but for sure a year, that's how I felt. Wondering when I was going to have a breakthrough, wondering when I wasn't going to be tired anymore, wondering all of those things, and just my emotions were so crazy, and I was fighting with people I shouldn't have been fighting with, and letting people walk all over me that I shouldn't have been letting walk all over me, and just staying in this place where it was not okay for me to be in, and I was constantly exhausted, and not exhausted in the way of because if anybody knows me, I'm tired right now. And in life, I am tired. But there's health reasons why, and we're getting those figured out. But I was mentally, emotionally, and physically drained to the point where if I did not spend 12 hours by myself every single day, then I wanted nothing to do with anybody. I was spending so much time by myself that it was horrible. Looking back, I would tell people all the time, it's just me, I'm just an introvert. I live to spend time with myself, and this is how I get my energy back. And I didn't think it was a bad thing, but after I got out of that season, I was like, oh my gosh, that was not good at all. That was not good whatsoever. And while yes, people are introverts, you should not be spending 12 hours by yourself a day. And that's just, it's not good. And there's some people that are probably listening and they spend a lot of hours by themselves throughout the day. But I'm just saying, you have to, if you're healthy, if you're doing good, then spend those hours alone. That's perfectly fine. But I love spending time with people that I can really connect to. And right now, in this point of my life, I have some of the most amazing people in my life. And I barely spend any time by myself because I know that spending time with them is better than me spending time with myself. I know that I can get more out of it. I know that it's just, there's a deeper connection there, and I want that. I'd rather spend time with them than spend time by myself because it energizes me more, and it's just so good. And those friendships, those relationships are just amazing. And if any of you are listening, I love all of you, and you guys know who you are. So I just want to say, there's a time when being alone is okay, and there's a time when being alone is not okay, and something that you should not be doing. And you should definitely be watching how much you are spending alone, how much time you're spending by yourself. But back to the point. The dark seasons, the seasons where it just doesn't feel like anything is going right in your life, it does get better. But before it can get better, you guys probably don't want to hear this, you have to shed layers that are not good for you. And you have to allow the work of God work through you. It's so important for us to realize the only way we can actually heal, the only way that we can fully be better, is by having God actively working in our lives, allowing him to actively work in our lives. There's no amount of sin, there's no amount of anything that you could have done in this life that God's grace cannot pick you up and help you walk through it all. No matter what you've done in your lifetime, God is still waiting for you to allow him in your life so that he can work through you. It's gonna take time to see all of those changes happen. Some people, it might work faster than others. You cannot compare. You cannot. Because I promise you, there are some people that they're questioning, when are certain things going to happen for them? And I'm over here and I don't feel like anything that has happened over the past few months should have happened. But they did, and it's great and it's amazing, and I know that it's from God. And sometimes I feel guilty that my timeline is faster than theirs, and I know that's not on me, and God has a plan for every single person, but it's just, you cannot compare. You can't do that, because then it puts you in a bad place. But whenever you want to heal, whenever you want to figure out what needs to be changed, the first step is to admit that it's not good, to admit that, whether it's emotionally, physically, mentally, all of them, you are drained and some changes need to happen. Whether that's by writing them down, talking out loud about them, praying to God, whatever it is, you have to be willing to admit that those changes need to happen and that you're not okay. And it's okay to not be okay. We're in a world where we suppress our emotions so much that we feel it is not okay to cry, or it's not okay to show any emotions. Listen, we have emotions for a reason. Show them, use them. When we hold things in, it just suppresses and makes things worse in the long run. Trauma starts to form, and we just constantly tell ourselves that we can't use our emotions, but I'm telling you that they are there for a reason, and they are meant to be used. But when we are healing, when we're in that first stage of admitting things are wrong, going into the stage of needing to heal, we need to take a deep breath, and we need to rest in God's arms and allow him to work through us every single day, no matter what. Whether that looks like reading a devotional, whether that looks like praying, whether that looks like reading the Bible. Every single day, you have to work on that relationship with God. But it doesn't have to be anything crazy. I think some people here, we have to work on that relationship with God every single day, and it has to be all of these things. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. Whether you're a new believer, you're coming back, you're turning back to him, or you are a firm believer and you're just struggling with something. The biggest thing that you can do for yourself and your relationship with Christ is to rest in his arms and allow him to show you what needs to be done. And when you do that, I am telling you that when you just rest in his arms, it is the best feeling. That peace that you will get from him is so beautiful. It is seriously so beautiful. It's so necessary. And when things keep changing in your life, And when hardships keep coming, you are going to be at peace. You're going to continue to smile through it. You're going to continue to feel rested. And this happens because nothing is bigger than God. But as humans, there are things that we cannot handle. There are things that our minds, our bodies cannot handle. But that's why God is there. He's there to give us the strength. He's there to pick up the things that we cannot do by ourselves. He is there. And you need to allow him in. When you allow him in, that peace, oh man, I am telling you, that peace is something that every single person on this planet needs to experience at one point in your life. It's not a peace you can get from somebody else. It's not a peace you can get from any physical thing in the world. It is only a peace that comes from God. And then, while God is working through you, showing you, telling you every single day what needs to be worked on, this is when you actually have to start showing up. Whether it's working through some trauma, whether it's switching a job, getting something else, whether it's figuring things out financially, whether it's leaving a partner, whether it's leaving a friendship, whether it's moving out, whether it's working towards a goal, working towards something that God has put on your heart. For me, that was a weird sound anyway, so I'm sorry for that. As soon as I left a relationship, God put it on my heart that I needed to start this. I mean, it's technically a ministry. The Mindful Society. He told me I needed to start it. I got it in a dream consistently, back to back, and there was a few other things, but just every single day I feel him telling me I need to work on something for it. And so from that moment forward, I just continued to show up as much as possible that day. And every day looks different. Some days I could record 2 podcast episodes and post all over social media, and some other days it is hard to even hit the post button on one social media page. We also have to realize that not only do we have to show up to do the work, but we also have to understand where our minds and bodies are and rest. Yes, God is going to give us strength to get through it, but while you're healing and while you're going through times that are it's still hard. It's still hard. No matter how good life is, it's still hard sometimes. And so no matter what you're going through, you have to realize it's okay to rest. And that 20 dotted to-do list, 20 tasks to do, whatever the heck you want to call it, it's okay if you only get one thing done during the day. It's okay. We have things to do, but it's okay, because sometimes our minds and bodies need more rest than we are willing to admit to ourselves. And my last podcast episode, I said that we don't always have tomorrow, and while that's true, you also have to do what's best for you today. So if that is making sure you spend time with God and putting everything else on the back burner and just resting, then that is what you needed to do. I just want you guys to realize that no matter what is going on in life, no matter what hardships you are going through, no matter what challenges you are facing, no matter what feelings you have to feel and learn, and if you are going through any health issues, whatever you are struggling with, whatever you are facing right now, challenged by whatever it is, it can get better. And I'm not going to say it will get better. It can get better. As long as you are willing to allow God to work through you. And as long as you are willing to show up and do the work. If you are not willing to do those two things, it will not get better. You will continue to live the life that you are living. You will continue to go through things that you keep questioning, why are they happening? They're happening because you're not willing to show up. They're happening because you're not willing to close doors that need to be closed, and you're not willing to open doors that need to be opened. Your life is not getting better because the decisions that you are making is making your life turn for the worst. You know, the choices that you have to make have to be following the narrow road to spending eternity with Christ. But most of the world, we are choosing, I shouldn't say we because I'm not, but most of the world is choosing this wide gate to walk through, to make worldly decisions every single day, thinking that it's perfectly okay to continue to living like that. You have to choose the narrow path. And when it comes to overcoming hardships, God has to be there. You have to realize that His peace, His love, His grace, His mercy, His everything is so much greater than anything that you could ever give to yourself. It's so much greater than anybody could ever give to you. I want to give you guys another example. I was in a 4-year relationship. It was not a good relationship. It was really hard, and we're not going to get into the details. I've realized, as much as I've promised you guys that I would be open, and I don't want my social media to be a highlight reel because, I want to share real life with you guys. And in the past, I've shared some things about the relationship, but it just was not good. Okay? A lot of the decisions I have made over the past 6 years have not been the best, and the getting in that relationship, staying in that relationship was one of them. Well, July there was a whole thing, but we broke up, and I got a new job. After the breakup, I got a new job, and I started getting plugged into the church. I was serving in different areas, and just my relationship with God was never better. And so I then, right before Thanksgiving, went on a trip to go see a friend. And I came back home, and I just felt very confused, and I was just praying all the time, God, please just tell me, where do you need me? What do you need me to do? What is going on? And if anybody knows me, if anybody has gotten to know me at all at any point in my life, I cannot wait to be a mom. I cannot wait to be a wife. Those are two things that I absolutely cannot wait to do, and I am so excited for those times in my life. But I was just getting out of a really bad relationship, and I mean, not just, but I was working through some things, and when I came home, I was just questioning, what do you need me to do? Where do you need me to be? And it was just kind of moving out is the next option. Moving out is the next thing that I need to do. And so I started praying that opportunities would come so that I could move. And I talked about moving to Tennessee. I love Tennessee. I love Florida, and Tennessee just seemed like a better option than Florida at this point in my life, and it's closer to where my family lives. But I was thinking about moving, and so I'm praying like all the time of opportunities to just be open. And then all of a sudden, I don't know where it came from, but I just, instead of praying to get to move, I started praying for my future husband. I just felt like in my time of prayer that it needed to be switched, and my focus was not supposed to be on me moving, it was supposed to be on this. And so my boyfriend and I now at this point, I work with his dad. So yes, we did end up together. You guys get the ending before the beginning anyways. I work with his dad, and I'm best friends with his sister. Those relationships were growing, and then we started just reaching out to each other more and talking about things, and we quickly realized that a lot of our lives and the choices that we made were pretty much the same, and we ended up in this place of we need to get closer to God because our lives are going to be going nowhere if we do not. And so we kept talking about things, and we kept getting to know one another, which then led to dates, and now we are together, and we definitely see a future with one another, and it is so beautiful, and I am just so blessed and grateful for it. But I was healing, okay? I was emotionally, physically, mentally drained, decided that something needed to change. Things fell into place for change to happen, and I just rested. I rested for probably 2-3 months, all the way up to Thanksgiving. And then, I had that trip, and when I came home, I felt like some change needed to happen. And so I was ready to, start putting things into work, and things were just working out. And I mean, like, yes, here and there over those 3 months of rest, I was putting work in and doing things and making things happen. But the main thing was resting and a little bit of work here and there. But when I came back from Tennessee, I was full force going into working, focusing on making money so that I could pick things up and I could leave, because I wanted to be out. I wanted to just go somewhere and adventure and see life somewhere else, away from a place that has a lot of heartache. And I'm telling you guys, I don't know what made me switch, but instead of like dreaming about moving away, and praying about moving away and like God giving me the opportunity to do so, it was just like, you need to start praying for your future husband. And so my time went to praying for that instead of praying for a move. And God sent me somebody who is the literal definition of everything that I prayed for. He is, I'm gonna cry and I can't. But he is everything that I prayed for. And we've been together for almost 2 months now. It has been absolutely beautiful, and things are just going so well. But I am telling you that if you're willing to show up, if you're willing to admit that you are just not making the best decisions, and that your life is not as good as it can be, and you're admitting that you need to have God help you. If you're willing to rest in his arms and to allow him to show you the way, I promise you that it can get better. it can get better. But you have to be willing to open those doors and close those doors and do what needs to be done to be where God needs you to be. That is the end of this episode. I really hope that you guys enjoyed it. If you did, you guys can leave a rating and review. It would be so good if you did. It's not required, but I would love it if you did, because I want to know how you guys are feeling about the podcast. I hope you guys are doing very well. I hope your March is going well so far. I do want to let you guys know that I have been more active on TikTok, so make sure to go follow me over there. I will have some links for you guys in the description box. Yes, for YouTube, and the show notes for the other platforms. I also want to tell you guys that I created a daily journal that is so good for like Bible readings and just to prepare yourself for the day. It is called the Mindful Journal. I have it listed on Etsy shop, so I will have the link down for you guys as well. So I hope you guys are doing well. I already know I said that, but I really hope that you guys are doing well. And if you're not, just make sure you're listening to this episode, okay? I love you all so much, and I will talk to you guys very soon. Might have another episode for you guys this week, I don't know, but I will talk to you guys very soon.